guess what? Your worries are over. And I'll tell you why. You know what happens? Doubt is the killer of dreams. Let's call it that way. And when you're worried because you are giving your fear, a fear, which is a thought, the power to be an absolute, that it's going to happen. No, you're an absolute. That's not. This is an obsolete. It's a relative. And your worries are over. You want to get into the habit of, if you start to worry, to take a look at what you really believe. It's like when people say, oh, I'm worried about you. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean you're not being the way they think you should be? They're projecting their fears on you? And say you have children that you're always worried about and worried about and worried about. That energy, that consciousness is pervading. It is influencing others, and they doubt themselves, that they're not able. And you know, children are just short people because they're living entities. They're souls, just like tall people, giant people, whoever that is. And when we're worried, we're keeping that in the mind, and we're picturing that outcome that would be there if you actually did believe that thought. And people say, yeah, but I use worry to prevent the thing. But it doesn't, because now you're suffering and you're torturing yourself in your mind and in your emotions and in your imagination with what you're worried about actually happening. And if you take a look right now, this is how your life turned out to now. This is because it's this now. And whatever you're dragging with you from the past, you're bringing into your now. And I think I mentioned once before, I had to go to the dentist, and there were some things I was worried about. I thought, stop. Don't be afraid. Don't worry until you're actually sitting in the chair with the dentist. And now if you want to be afraid, go ahead. And then it wasn't. It was real easy. So we use these worries. We think, well, that's the intelligent thing, to be worried, because if you're not worried, you're not intelligent. You don't really realize what's happening. So if you realized what would happen, you'd be afraid. What, really? How is that going to help me? Where are you going to run? Where are you going to hide? And your safest place is always with yourself. I call that the God presence, my beloved, who makes everything happen for me and for you as well. And when we're in tune with the divine, that means we're centered in the heart. And you have our mind in the bliss zone, where we're witnessing, but not judging and evaluating all the time, because that's what the left brain does. It's always judging, evaluating, criticizing, and this is good, this is bad, I like this, I don't like this is up, this is down. And then it's like, well, you're sensible to worry. That means I care because I'm worried. The worried is the anxiety, is the fear that you have by placing your faith in these concepts that are fear-based. And that is a symptom of the mind virus. And that mind virus eats intelligence. And the more we focus on those thoughts that are running through our minds, and watching movies, TV, whatever it is, that other people's thoughts, and you notice that most people have the same thoughts, but there are no original thoughts in this reality. The original thoughts are in the divine. It's a state of knowing. And it isn't, when you actually, it's like I was telling my daughter, she was so worried, and she said she was praying for someone, and then she was worried that for them. I said, well, then if you actually ask your God within, and that was your prayer, why would you then doubt? Would you take it back again? You say, oh, well, yeah, I gave it to you, but I'm going to take it back again because if I worry, it's going to make it better. Really? Someone who said, oh, I'm worried about you, said this years ago. I said, really? Well, what would you do about it? Well, nothing. Yeah. If I needed something, would you give it? No, they wouldn't. They're just worried about me. Shows I care. It's fake. It's false. It's because we're so creative. We're manifestors. You can't help it. It's what you do. It's who you are. And when you feed those worries, and you're actually living as if that was happening now, because it's all happening in the mind and in those emotions that we're expressing through these bodies. So your worries are over when you realize what the worry actually is doing to you. And because see, you can't stop something until you don't want it anymore. So if you believe the worry is good, take a look at what you think you're getting from it. And people say, well, I use that to motivate myself. Well, can't you motivate yourself without terrorizing yourself? Does that make sense? I motivate myself by the fear? Really? So now you have to suffer, torture yourself, block divine knowledge and consciousness that's flowing, and block the divine from expressing itself, but expressing these worries? And so what is a lot of the media doing? It's like, it's worry, 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 fear, 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 this is it, this is it. No, 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 no. That's not my game. That's not my reality. It's not my time track, if you want to call that that. No, no, no. Stay in touch with yours and who you are. Breathe that in. Notice that when you do worry, postpone it. Postpone the worry, postpone the fear if you really want to do it. But you really, when you use your divine intelligence and divine logic, you can see that and understand that the worry is not benefiting you or anybody else. And fear of death. Why would you be worried about it? Well, I'm worried about it. You think it's going to change it? And it's not death. You're going to slough off this 3D reality. But you remain who you are. And then you're surrounded by the subtle mind, which is false mind, false intelligence, false ego that we've concocted as our character, you might say. But we have our divine character. Yes. You don't just leave your body and merge into the blob. No. You're always a person. And you have qualities and divine nature so activate that. And when you start to worry, realize it's obsolete. It's not your friend, and it's not going to help you. What is it that resonates in your heart? And right now, in this moment, be grateful. Be appreciative. Just get into the state. It needs to become a practice, a habit, a religion, which means to do something with religion. That means over and over with the discipline. And that discipline would be the discipline of practicing the presence, the state of being. Observing, witnessing, appreciating. Let yourself, no matter what you think is coming up, don't be planning for it by being already there. I used to tell my congregation, on the way to the church today, I passed a mortuary that had a sign in the window. Why walk around half dead? We'll bury you for $200. And they go, really? Most people are so afraid of death, which is a concept. You cannot die. You can lose this reality because you're now focusing on another reality. And how does that change, you see? So what is the reality that you desire? Stop torturing yourself. Give up the worry game. It's useless. It's actually more than useless. It's detrimental. You don't need it. When you know who you are, there's nothing to fear ever again. How would you feel? Nothing could hurt you. Nothing could harm. How would you feel? Get into that feeling of it. And that comes from really trusting the divine, your divine partner, that's always working for the welfare of all. Yeah. Let yourself be yourself. To be you to the full, to be beautiful. That's who you are. Let yourself feel that and be that. The only way you know it works is by doing it. No other way. Can't buy it. Nobody can give it to you. It's all up to you. And you have the source of all with you.